Hey ladies, or gentlemen, I wanted to go over my favorite two themes with you. These are both out of the Sandbox, which I give you a link for in my blog too. Um, although Turbo you can only get through out of the Sandbox box's website, responsive you can technically play around with right on Shopify. Just so you know, some other Shopify themes that I've been loving lately that are directly on Shopify would be Impulse, Symmetry, and still Testament is kind of a tried and true favorite. Testament will not have the fancier page templates that I'm going to talk about on this video though, so just keep that in mind. That's something I feel is really important that you may or may not need now, but if you need it in the future and it's not in your theme, it could be a pain in the booty. Yeah. Okay. But the ones that I'm going to go over in this video are my two favorite, which are Turbo and Responsive. So I actually use Turbo after going through multiple themes for each business. I use it for both my boutique and Hot Mess. So that's the testament to, I really do love this theme. Okay, so I'm going to go over with you some of my favorite things. Unlike most themes, you have a couple options for how your menu looks. And one is to split it up. The other is not to split it up. You also have a secondary menu available up here, which is nice because it gives you an area for your phone number, which people can just click right on and it'll call. And it allows you to focus on what's most important, which as a boutique owner is going to be your products. But at the same time, you can list some other things that should be shown on your main page up here. So this would be a good place for your about, contact, and shipping and returns at the least. These can't drop down though. So just an FYI on that. Okay, so the other thing that I like about this theme, which Responsive has this as well, and as far as the other themes I mentioned, Symmetry, oh, did I check on that? Feel free to send me an email if you ever have a specific question, support@hotmesshustle.com, or this is also a great thing that we can cover and offer support on in the workshop. Which is still only $333 right now. As of December 31st, it is going up to $795, and we are also revamping it January 14th. So anybody that gets in there before January 14th will also have access to the revamp once that's done. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. Why was I even going there? The fancier page templates. A lot of themes on Shopify do have them, but it's definitely not like again, Testament doesn't have these. So if you've ever messed around with Shopify's page editor, it's very limited. Now, word on the street is that Shopify is working on their page template editor to be more drag and drop like your homepage. And I don't think it'll be too far out, but I still don't know what that's going to look like compared to what we're able to do with these theme templates. So keep that in mind. Because not only, especially Turbo, well, Responsive too, they have a cool page template called Details. But they also have, which I'm going to show you some page examples, but they also have some other page templates that are just totally unique, meant for certain scenarios. So the Details template just allows you to basically set up your page as you want with sections, kind of like you would on your homepage. So there's a variety of things that you can do with the page template. Sorry. Now, the page template, there's only one Details available on your theme, but you can go into the coding and duplicate it, which is a little trickier than it sounds. But it's an option. So if you needed multiple special pages, you could make that happen. The other thing is it comes with a team, like a meet the team template sort of thing. And so it's meant to have your little about and then highlight you and your employees, which I use for both websites. And obviously this is going to depend on your branding and graphic design and all of that as well. And then the other thing that's nice here on Turbo specifically is if you click on a product, at least on desktop. Well, it shows on mobile too, but in a different way. So on desktop, you're allowed to have like a page that is a panel. So I was able to put my sizing information right here. Now on mobile, how it looked is sizing guidelines was at the top, and there was a little arrow that you could click, and then you would see the same graphic. So that was really cool too. And then of course things like, you know, using your size markers as swatches. Just trying to see if there's anything else on this website I want to show you. Okay, so these are also all using the details template, and there's just so much that you can do on this theme. Like the possibilities really are endless. They also have a fairly decent blog setup. Shopify's blog isn't amazing either way, and I could have had a header image, which I probably will eventually. And as well as like we need to start having featured graphics or photos for our blog. So this page is a little fancier, but at least there was the option to have this here, which is something. So another thing that you can do, and this is both Turbo and Responsive have these fancier page templates. And so like for Alley Cat Boutique, for example, if you go to their about page, it's definitely quite fancy. And again, photos and branding play a big role here too, and copy. But this is their about page. So another thing that both Responsive and Turbo have are an FAQs page template. So it basically allows these accordion style, FAQs, but it could be used for different purposes. So with this client, we did use it for her shipping and returns. And again, there's different ways to set it up, different things you can do. So I wouldn't normally do this for shipping and returns actually, but they actually had a lot of information. So it was kind of a lot for one page. So it helped to break it down. This is another example of the details page template, her full catalog. So new releases, sale items. This is a featured page with the sizing icons that you can click on to show just what's in stock and small, etc. The rest of her categories, and then her latest arrivals. So this is kind of like that full catalog page. Both of them have the option for color swatches, which is always nice. There is a little bit of setup involved there, but it's a cool feature, which is why you see these. Basically, you have to load your color swatches as PNGs into the assets of your theme coding. It's actually not as hard as it sounds on that one. Whereas copying the page template is a little trickier than it sounds. The page details template. Adding the color swatches is not quite as difficult as it sounds. But anyway, let's see. So the differences between the two, which right now, Responsive is $180, Turbo is $350. Do I personally think it's worth it? Absolutely. Turbo versus Responsive. The differences are fairly minimal, but they do make a big difference to me. Okay, so one is between the two is that your main menu, all that you can edit without digging into the coding, right? Relying on the theme itself with the menu is these outlines. Whether you don't want the outline there at all, you want the solid line, you could do a double line or you could do dots. But this is the only layout for the logo and menu. Whereas again, on this theme, you have a couple different options and you also have the secondary menu up top here. So, the other thing is, it's not relevant on this site. I don't have a row of products, but on Turbo, you're able to do a slideshow, or you don't have to. It could just be a static list of a row of items. You can't do that on Responsive. The other thing that Responsive has that's kind of cool is you're actually able to add a row of recently viewed items. So this is going to be particular to the person that's looking at it. So I haven't looked at my own website in a while. So right now it's only showing that I've looked at this one, right? But if I were to look at this one as well, and now go to the home page, watch it not work on me for some reason. No, there it is. So it'll show all the last ones that I've looked at, and eventually this will be a full row of products. So that's just kind of nice. Let's see. I also love that you can use an image in the background of your footer. And I like the layout of the footer just a little bit more. I don't hate the layout of the footer for Responsive though either. It's also nice, but I do prefer the footer layout for Turbo myself. The other thing is, and this is an issue particularly on mobile, but when you're on your product pages, your collection pages, yeah, it's not really a problem on desktop, but on mobile, so both Turbo and Responsive allow you to do either one product per row. So when you go to your tops on mobile, you can either look at one product at a time, or it can be two in a row. But the spacing on Responsive it's a lot of spacing, which can be coded out, but then you're basically going to reach the $350 anyway to have that coded out. So that's one issue, as well as just on your homepage in general. Each of these rows is called a section, right? On mobile, for some reason, the padding between each section is kind of a lot, in my opinion. So, like, for example, we had a client that used this theme that we ended up needing to do quite a bit of coding on. We needed to add her slideshow, add the sizing variant swatches to show what's in stock, which is another matter. But she also definitely didn't like the extra padding on mobile, so we removed that. And then she didn't like how, again, when you go to a collection, again, on mobile, there was just so much empty space around everything. And so, so we had to code that out basically. So overall, now that I've really gotten to know each theme, I think, if you know that you're not like as particular and you like this header menu area and you like the footer, Responsive is definitely still a great choice. And you still have access to all those fancy page templates, right? But if you are more interested in the details and you, or if you know you want a slideshow, of new arrivals, it's automatically worth it to get Turbo versus Responsive right there. So anyway, this is all just stuff to think about. And again, these are only 2 themes out of all the many themes. And as a reminder, I do have in the workshop, I have a video that goes over themes a little bit more. And also you have access to the support group. So at that point, you can ask questions about themes in the Facebook group. It's basically unlimited support from my team and I in that Facebook group. Or if we work one-on-one together, helping choose the best theme for what you're needing. Because first we would go over what you're needing, what your goals are, what features you're interested in, all of that. We would go over all of that and then help you choose the best theme. And our goal is to pick a theme that needs minimal coding done to be just right for you. But we also have a coding developer if there is that last little bit that needs to be done. And we do include generally 2 to 3 hours of coding development time in your full website package. So if you end up wanting stuff that's really, really extensive, we may have to re-talk about that. But most clients, actually, we are able to find a theme that needs no coding to be just right or very little. So, but anyway, we're always here too to answer questions about anything. But I hope that if you are quite savvy, this video helps you pick a better theme than maybe what you've been using. Anyway, thank you for following along with all my craziness.